Hello and welcome back to TeaBookClub. If you've been following along, you'll know that on Sunday last we had our social meetup for this book, and we were fortunate enough that Michelle and Rob Comins, authors of our current read, Tales of the Tea Trade, were able to join us for the social, which was fantastic. Everybody got to have a chance to ask questions and hear more about their stories and learn more about tea and the work that Michelle and Rob do around tea as well. So it was really fantastic. It was a lovely group. Everyone was really interactive and active, and we heard so many fantastic things, and all the questions were amazing. Led partly by the book and things that people have read, and also people's own tea interest and knowledge. If that sounds interesting to you, then hop along to one of the links below and join TeaBookClub, where we read a book every 2 months. We have a social meetup at the end of the first month, and we also have our discussion meetup at the end of the second month, so that will be the end of May, where we come together online to discuss the book and share our thoughts. There's 2 levels of membership, the teapot and the spoon, so pop along, find out more about those, and I hope to see you soon. 5-minute readings. Every week I read for 5 minutes from the book. This gives you something to follow along, little something to catch up with, or if you're waiting for the book to arrive, you can at least get snippets of the book before you get stuck in reading. And I've really been enjoying reading our current read, Tales of the Tea Trade by Michelle and Rob Comins. The stories in it are fantastic. The way that they explain things is really brilliant. So today I'm going to be jumping in at page 79. This chapter is on China, and I recommend reading it. It's brilliant. The history that they condense it, but it's really succinct, and there's fantastic stories all the way through about their travels in China, the tea people they meet, and the teaware makers they meet. So that's what we're going to be reading today. Page 79. Yixing, the home of Xisha teapots. Michelle. Inspired by the beautiful pots we have seen on our travels, we now use such teapots in our tea house. As we place the small pots on the table and remove the lids so that people can see the leaves inside, conversations stop. Minds become inquisitive, and the stage is set for a new experience. Ours come from Yixing in the province of Jiangsu, famed for its purple clay from which the pots are often formed. China is a world where tea is an experience, not just a drink, and once you have tasted great tea from a Xisha teapot, you too may be unable to turn back. Tea we made from Xisha clay has been prized for centuries. Its high percentage of clay, quartz and iron is considered to be perfect, resulting in teapots that have high permeability and allow the appreciation of the colour, smell and flavour of tea perfectly. They are often adorned with poetry and paintings, each a unique combination of art and practicality, earning the Xisha teapot the name King of Teaware in China. A Xisha teapot cannot be rushed, but it can take several weeks or even longer to make just one pot, and if it is not perfect, it will be destroyed. Competition is fierce, with many hundreds of people making pots in the streets of Yixing. As with tea, the quality and craftsmanship will vary. You need to know what you are looking for. Joyce G is the 4th generation of a family of top craftsmen making Xisha teapots. Her father, Master G, still has a workshop on the south street of Shu Mountain in the old downtown of Yixing. Joyce explained what is so special about Xisha teapots. The first thing is the Xisha clay, found only in my hometown Yixing. The Green Dragon and Yellow Dragon Mountain are the most famous areas. These 2 mountains are located face to face at the centre of Dingshu town, with a lake between them that has been formed as the clay has been removed over time. The second thing is the artists themselves. The way of making the teapots is special. They are handmade, not using machines, and this way of making teapots is only found in our hometown. Xisha clay varies in colour, which is why you see a colourful array of teapots on sale in the shops of Yixing, and is subdivided into many different types, each with its own qualities. Handling the pots in the shops of Yixing, it became very clear that Xisha pots vary in texture, which is informed by the size of the particles used. These are separated into different sizes using screens that resemble large sieves with varying mesh types. A teapot made from a 100 mesh screen, 0.15mm, will be as smooth and fine as jade, while one made from particles with a 60 mesh screen, 0.3mm, will be coarser. Once the Xisha powder has been chosen, the teapot maker starts the process of transforming it into Xisha clay, in a process called hammering. Every teapot maker has his own formula, resulting in unique teapots of different texture and colour. Once made, the traditional method involves wrapping the clay in a tarpaulin and placing it in a sealed jar for at least half a year to let the carbonates and organic matter decompose so that water can be absorbed into the clay and evenly distributed. Afterwards, the clay must be repeatedly hammered to remove the air bubbles and ensure the particles inside are compact, resulting in a clay which, when cut, has a smooth and compact surface. Joyce explains how modern machinery is used to shorten this part of the process. The main step of forming the teapot body is called Da Shen Tong. The maker taps the clay with their hands while spinning the wheel and tapping the teapot body, aiming for geometric symmetry. The next step is called Ga Shen Tong, which involves taking the hollow teapot and using an arc-shaped tool to trim the lines to the desired finish. Finally, the handle and the spout. The inside of the spout must be perfectly smooth for the water to flow easily, and only an experienced maker knows how much strength you need to apply and how to make a suitable hole. The final part of the process is to trim the lines without leaving any flaws. In the words of Master G, making a teapot is easy to learn but hard to master. The difference between a technician and a master is how skillful and creative one can be in making teapots. Masters can transform the simple material into something of great artistic value. Mr. Fan at Ji Yuanjing Fang Workshop. Michelle, as we walked along the streets of Yixing, we came across a shop that felt quite special. Out the back, a lady sat carefully crafting pots, a not uncommon sight in many shops. The shop was tidy and uncluttered, with glass cabinets neatly displaying teapots like works of art, and just one large tea table set on the side. That's 5 minutes, but I'm just going to finish this little page where we hear about Mr. Fan. This was Mr. Fan's shop, and I rather liked his pots. Mr. Fan. My wife has now been making Yixing teapots for 25 years and makes all the pots for our store. In 1996, my sister and I started studying in the top teapot factory in Yixing, and by 2004 we felt ready to open our own workshop and establish our brand. Ji Yuan Jing Fang. We mainly focus on Yixing Ji Ni purple clay. A big part of the popularity of Yixing clay for brewing tea is historic. It became well known through its use by the royal family. I have to stop here and just apologise if my pronunciation of any of the Chinese is off the mark, which I'm quite sure it is. I find it very complicated. Anyway, carrying on. Mr. Fan sells pots in different shapes, sizes and finishes, and you can buy off the shelf or commission pieces to order. He explained, different people buy different types of pots. If you're starting out in tea, the best one to start with is a simple round or fangu shape. Spend less money, use it often and enjoy it before you invest in the more expensive types. White Duan Ni clay is more suitable for light tea. Ji Ni clay is good for Wu Yi rock and oolong teas, and Jiang Ni Po clay is suitable for pu'er tea. These pairings are based on their impact on the cup of tea, which is down to the makeup of the clay. For example, the pore size is different in different clays. The teapots are still breathing, and larger pores result in a different flow of air compared with a pot made with denser clay. These differences affect heat distribution, which impacts on the final cup of tea. Regardless of what pot you buy, you need to take care of it. First, once you make your purchase, you need to put it into boiling water and soak it. This is mainly to get rid of the dust from firing and open the pores of the clay before you make the first infusion. After using it, you must clean out the leaves and rinse it with hot water, then dry it well before putting it away. We buy a number of pots and small jugs from Mr. Fan, and it is amazing to think they are all made by his wife in the shop I visited. Knowing him and the origin of the pots certainly adds to the flavour of the tea brewed in them. He is pleased with the partnership too. I'm really excited that there is growing interest in our work in the West and that people can see beyond it simply being a teapot to being a beautiful and sensual part of the tea ceremony. Chinese teapots are just fascinating, and I think that is a lovely introduction and a lovely little snapshot into that world and the travels that Michelle has had in China and the people she's met, which is the theme that I'm getting from this book more than anything, is that connection between Michelle and Rob, between the Comins Tea House and the people that they meet on their travels, and consequently the people that they buy from. If you've enjoyed that reading and would like to get more out of TeaBookClub, pop along to one of the links below, head over to TeaBookClub.org or join TeaBookClub on Instagram, and you can find out more about us. Join us for our next meetup and get in on reading the books. Thank you. See you soon.